The Wizard of Oz. Who has not loved that movie or stage show for that matter? This is Greg Archer. I'm on the set of Cabrillo Stage's lavish summer musical, The Wizard of Oz, and we're going to talk to a few people, go behind the scenes, and ponder the state of, I don't know, all things that go back to home. So stay with us and hang on tight. Here we go.
Someday I'll wish upon a star and to wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me.
How are things going so far?
Actually, musically, it's wonderful. It's a funny show because it's not a bunch of featured numbers. For instance, a character like Dorothy has one featured number in the whole show. But there's a lot of incidental music, so that's the tough part for me, having to, put music underneath the dialogue and the action on stage.
Our take on Oz is what it might have looked like to L. Frank Baum when he wrote the original book back in 1901. So we take a lot of Victorian styles and that kind of look and clothing and architecture and give it its own fantastical contemporary twist. So we're having a lot of fun.
My biggest concern was competing with a movie that we've all seen before. Everybody's seen it. Everybody knows it.
You have to have a spectacular Dorothy, someone who has to live up to and hopefully exceed the expectations set by Judy Garland. She's so iconic in the role.
And I tried my best not to be like Judy Garland because, no one really can compare.
And I had two girls who were both spectacular, beautiful, very talented actors, singers, and dancers.
Ashley Little is our other Dorothy, and she is just quite the doll, and it's been fun. We've developed quite different Dorothys.
And they were wildly different, totally different in their approach to the roles.
So we go into rehearsal and we see each other's choices, and sometimes we say, oh, that's good, or sometimes we say, okay, well, how am I going to do it different? So
they are completely different characters. And so, anybody who really loves this would have to come twice.
It just sums up why theater is a living, breathing, vital thing, and it changes with the audience. It's not a film. It's not something that is absolute and never changes. A different audience, a different actor, you have a different show.
You play the Scarecrow. What are you doing to morph into that role? How's that going for you?
Well, it's actually going pretty well. I'm trying my best not to get any sort of, or have any sort of trace from Ray Bolger's version in the movie, as there's only so many different ways that you can play a scarecrow. But as far as preparing for the role goes, just trying to think and be as boneless as possible. It's really kind of bringing a lot of parallels and realities from a couple people that I know in my own particular life who I consider to be quite brilliant, but are kind of slow on the uptaking.
You mean brainless people or something like that?
I wouldn't say brainless. I would say just people who are just half a millisecond behind the rest of us.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? No, I'm kidding. So what would you say has been the most challenging part of this production?
We have children, animals, vicious flying monkeys, flying, magic, a set that's on wheels and rolling around and never stops. It's the biggest production I think Cabrillo Stage has ever done. It's certainly the largest thing that I've ever had to coordinate, juggling all of that with a sense of humor.
It's amazing as I watch the things happen on stage and what Trevor's created. All my worries about the music not fitting what we're seeing in terms of the whole style have gone away, because it's music about fantasy, and this is a fantasy world, and it works great.
So if you could go to Oz, what would you ask for?
I think I would probably ask for a little more brains, to be quite honest with you. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a pretty good job right now. It's been a great summer so far. Can't really ask for more.
For me, going home was coming back to Oz. Let's be real. This is the Bay Area. It's a special place.
I think I'd be like Dorothy. If I ended up in Oz, I would love to explore. I would walk for miles and miles and miles and meet every character I could. But I think ultimately I'd be asking to come home again, because there's no place like home.
Gosh, there's no place like home. There really is no place like home. Wow, that felt good.